Hey mom, can I read this book? My friends at school say it's about vampires and fighting. That just sounds amazing.
I'm sorry, dear, but you can't read that book yet. Maybe when you're older.
But why?
I just don't want you reading about some of the stuff in that book quite yet. Hello, everybody. My name is Jack Kinsey, and today I would like to talk to you about what some people may call a controversial, but I call a suspenseful and overall entertaining book.
And this is coming from a person who doesn't really like to read unless they're absolutely forced to.
The book I am talking about is Robert Cormier's After the First Death. As you can see right here, the cover presents an accurate depiction for a majority of the story, but I'll get to that later. You may be wondering, why is this book controversial? And that is because it made the American Library Association's, or ALA, in 2016 banned book or challenge book list. And this basically means that censors found parts or all the book not suitable for their young readers. Banned or challenged books? What's that mean? What is censorship? Why is this happening? Well, according to the ALA's website, banned and challenged books happen for the best reasons to protect young readers or other people from difficult ideas or information. Schools, parents, guardians, government, almost anyone can be a censor, but that is also the reason why the number of banned and challenged books each year continues to rise. I actually quite enjoyed reading this book. There were multiple occasions where the book had me turning page after page, totally enthralled in the work. It just had me on the edge of my seat wondering what's going to happen next. But then there were some also slow parts in the book, but a book has to have some slow points. Otherwise, all the action would be meaningless. Now that I told you my personal stance on the book, I'm gonna now tell you what exactly happens without giving too much away. Now, this book is construed slightly different than all the other books I've read. When I say this, it's because it's not straight from one point of view. It goes from character to character, back to the character, and then back again. It's essentially a back and forth swapping between perspectives. While bouncing between these perspectives, there's also the present, where one of the main characters talks about what's happening, and then it does almost like a flash forward, and then it does a flash back to the event where the main story takes place. The story's plot revolves around a bridge incident which occurred in the past. This was when a group of terrorists hijacked a school bus full of kindergartners and preschoolers along with the bus driver and took them to an abandoned train bridge where they barricaded themselves in and waited for negotiations to start. The story's build up, or how it flows, is from when the build up to the event to the hijacking actually occurring, to in the waiting and the waiting and the waiting, and then the exciting conclusion to the entire ordeal. With the story jumping between character perspectives, it's important to understand who these characters are. First, we have Ben, or Benjamin Marchand, who is one of the main characters, and he keeps referencing this bridge incident when he is first introduced. As the story progresses, we learn more about his role and how significant he is into the entire hostage situation. Then we have Miro Shantes, who is the youngest member of the terrorist group that hijacked the bus. He is there to provide support for the other terrorists, as well as he's there to also make a name for himself and prove that he is a man. And then, by some twist of fate, we have Katie Forrester as the bus driver during the incident. As the story progresses, she starts to develop important roles in the situation as she's helping, aiding the kids, and making crucial decisions to try and survive. One of the page turning points in the book was actually when she made a brave decision and went for it and acted on it. But I'll let you read that at a later date. as a result, we see Katie go from a hostage to a high-risk taker in order to enhance everyone's survivability. There are also crucial characters that don't act as the main character. One example is Artkin, who is the ringleader behind the group of terrorists who hijacked the bus. He acts as the brain of the operations, as all decisions are made by him, and he also acts as the negotiator to make sure his deals are met with the spec ops on the other side of the bridge. Then there is also Ben's father, who we learn after reading goes by the codename General Rufus Briggs. Acts as one of the main brains of the operation from the Army/Spec Ops perspective, as since he is a general, he is one of the key decision makers as well as a negotiator against Arkin. He plays a major role as his decision shapes one of the characters' perspectives and how the story flows through. What makes the story so good is the combination of multiple things, such as the characters and their unique personalities, the suspenseful action throughout the entire story, and the gosh darn ending that makes you go from, what? Wait a minute! What's happening? What's going on? What? Once you read the book, you'll understand what I mean when you get to that part. Now, this book has had some controversy as it made the American Library Association's 2016 Banned and Challenged book list. But as I read the book, I took note of everything a parent might find offensive or too inappropriate for young readers. And as I read, I found 6 of the 10 top reasons why books get challenged or banned, which was published by the Banned Books Week. Now, with the book being about a hostage situation and terrorists, there's going to be violence, but the violence described in the book may be too detailed for some readers, and parents might use that as a argument point of why the book should be banned or censored further from their kids. The book also has points where it talks about its characters thinking about committing suicide, which is a touchy subject, but I'm not going to tell you who is thinking about that because that would ruin part of the book. But these points, violence being number 5 on the list and suicide being number 8, both make the list on the Banned Book Week top reasons why a book is challenged or banned. Now, violence and suicide are only 2 of the 6 things I found in the book. There's still 4 more left, and one of those happens to be drug abuse. And as you read early on, one of the main characters describes taking 14 sleeping pills at once to help with his PTSD when fireworks are going off. And I'm no doctor, but I'm pretty sure that many pills is not good for you and will result in overdose. And parents will probably think about this and know that that is not the right thing. So the author could have probably pointed out that, hey, maybe just took sleeping pills or a certain number, but saying 14 emphasizes the effects and the wanting to drown out that PTSD, while parents think, oh, that's drug abuse, that's no good, kids should not be reading about that. There's also an incident where the terrorists drugged the kids on the bus with, well, drugs, and the parents might not find that appropriate because they don't want their kids thinking about taking drugs at that young of an age as well. Drug and alcohol abuse being point number 9 on the Banned Book Weekly post, that means there's still a few more left to talk about. And as this is a high-stakes, suspenseful, stressful situation, there may be a few cuss words that slip the tongue of a few of the characters, but this helps build the story as no one's sitting through a suspenseful situation like that and not letting one of those words fly. This matches also with point number 2 in the post, because it is a big touchy subject that their parents don't want their kids learning about cuss words and saying it in public. And in the book, I have a quote pulled from page 115 that states, he had taken the part-time job of summer bus driver to supplement his retirement income for Hollowell Plastics Novelty Company. And what the hell, he said. He only had to put up with the little bastards less than 2 hours a day. And that kind of wording is not going to fly with parents, as it is a touchy subject and they don't want their little kids running around dropping cuss words at any time of the day. The first few points I've made so far are just ideas I thought of when I was reading. I'm like, oh, parents wouldn't like this. Oh, they wouldn't like that. Censors wouldn't like this. And this next point is the most touchy number of all, because it made point number 1 on the Banned Book Week list. This is because the book talks about masturbation and sex. This kind of content can be considered pornographic and a major flag for many censors, including parents, because they do not want their kids experiencing this kind of content early on and essentially ruining their childhood, as they think they could probably wait until they're older to learn about such topics. I pulled an example from the book. As we see on page 46, the author describes a girl who's wetting herself because the hostage situation is so scary, as she wet her pants so badly that the trickles down her thighs were like caress of moist and obscene fingers. Whoa, that gets the point across, but in a very lewd and most likely inappropriate way for young readers. The author accurately depicts what it feels like for the girl and helps paint a better picture for the readers, but that kind of info can be argued as needlessly graphic and not really needed to get the point across. I also point out another fine example on the page 26, and this is from Miro's perspective, as it states, the girl passed by, went out of his sight, and Miro resisted touching himself. Yes, this helps paint the picture that the girl who walked by is very pretty, but you did not have to emphasize that point with the idea of masturbation, which is the point some censors may argue, but it helps, as I said earlier, depict a better picture. These few excerpts do not paint the picture of the entire book. It's just a few words and a few sentences in a book full of thousands of sentences. It does not paint the entire picture of the book. It's just a small part, and that should not allow the censors to stop young readers to enjoy the book, because it is, with overall, very entertaining and suspenseful, and still has major themes kids can learn about. One of the major themes the book brings up is the topic of death, and how the young adults and young readers can learn about it, how it can be taken away forcefully or be natural. And as this is a hostage situation with life and death on the line, there will be some death that occurred. The book also offers kids opportunity to learn about patriotism and how that affects people's way of thinking, and how being too patriotic can also be a bad thing as you see it from the terrorist perspective, and also how patriotism can lead to decisions that you might regret later, as we see with General Rufus Briggs. The next topic is about sacrifice, because this kind of ties into with patriotism, because the greater good often requires sacrifices, and and young readers will need to learn how to give up some things in order to get the best result out there. And seeing it in a book is the best way to experience it firsthand before actually being put in the real situation. These themes are good learning opportunities for children to understand and bear witness to, as eventually they will experience these top ideas in the real world, and being able to get a brief glimpse of it in a book before experiencing the real deal will help them understand what's going on and how to deal with it. And these few lines in out of thousands and multiple words should not prevent the reader from experiencing the suspenseful thriller. Overall, I recommend picking up this book. The suspenseful action scenes, connecting the dots as you read until you see the entire picture, and the ending is so good and unexpected that everyone deserves to experience it. This may be a topic sensitive to most as it is about censorship, but this is my stance from my book talk, and I thank you for listening in, and I will see you later.